One person left. Feeling familiar?
Yeah, round two it is. Some more energy bars.
That's what we need for round two.
Yes, if you have to, for round two. Om Namah Shivaya. Yeah, nice to have you for 2 classes. Oh ma. Don't need that. Maybe we do. Don't know.
For online.
Very nice. Some people never left here also. Some people came. Nice. Okay. Namaste to all. Without much ado. Om Sahana Vavatu Sahana Bhunaktu Saha Viryam Karavavahai Tejasvinavadhitamastu ma vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shantihi. Eshu sukteshu jagarti.
Eshu sukteshu jagarti.
Kamam kamam.
Kamam kamam.
Purusho nirmimanah.
Purusho nirmimanaha.
Tadeva shukram.
Tadeva shukram.
Tad brahma.
Tad brahma.
Tadevamritamuchyate.
Tadevamritam uchyate.
Tasmin lokaha.
Tasmin lokaha.
Shritas sarve.
Shritas sarve.
Tadunatyeti kaschana.
Tadunatyeti kaschana.
Etad vaitat.
Etad vaitat.
The last class was a lot of fun because the previous verse, which was 227, yeah, was a lot of fun. What happens in the future lives and what happens, how the jivas are in a rush to get inside the birth canal to express their desires. That's why they need a new yoni, new birth canal. So that was very hilarious. And so we had fun. And then what, but then it didn't say a lot about Brahman, the last mantra. It was fun, we had a lot of fun, but alas, it did not say much about Brahman. This one more than makes up for it. And this one is deliciously vague, purposefully so, because it is hiding a Mahavakya. And that should be very clear because Etad Vaitat. Etat is Ayam. Tat is of course Tat. So this is that. So if somebody asks you what did you study in class, you say, oh, this and that. Yeah. That's all. If you don't want to go into details, or you find suddenly tongue-tied, what did I study? You say, oh, this and that, and you will be correct. It will be just right. So this one is almost in a prose form, and we will make it into prose. Anvaya. Yaha. Anvaya means making it into prose. Yaha. Yaha eshaha purushaha sukteshu kamam nirmimanah jagarti. Then after that is more or less straight. Tadeva shukram tad brahma tadeva amritam uchyate. Lokaha sarve tasmin shritaha tadu na atyeti kaschana. Etat vaitat. Yeah. So it's very interesting. Yaha, that one. Which one? We'll find out. That's why we have a lot of time. We'll find out. Not to worry. Yeah, that one. Deliciously vague, I've already told you. So we are looking at 228, correct? Yeah.
Yes.
So, and the text is there if anybody wants to download. Yaha supteshu jagarti. Already a paradox. That which lies awake, jagarti. There are certain second conjugation verbs in Sanskrit. In fact, the word swap to dream and jagrat to stay awake are all from the second conjugation. Very funny conjugation where the plural sounds like the singular. Jagarti, it should be sounds like plural, but actually it is singular. Jagrati sounds singular, but it is plural, and there's not much of a difference. So we have to be careful, but not really, because this is not a Sanskrit class. So we can just have fun. So the one who lies awake, jagarti. Lies is my own addition, the one who is awake. When supteshu, when everything else is asleep. Oh, very interesting. This one needs some medicine or what? Insomniac. Why does it lie awake? And besides, what does it do? Yeah, whoever this thing is, this entity, lying awake, what does it do? Because lying awake means, they tell you that when you're lying awake, don't try to do certain things to fall asleep. Like get back on the phone or the computer, because that backlight is not going to help. They tell you certain things like that. So what is this thing? Yaha, the one who is lying awake when everything else is asleep, what is it doing? It is busy. Nirmimanaha. Yeah. Nirmimanaha. Mimanaha, present continuous, Shatru, Shanach. So nirmimanaha. What does it, nirmimanaha means constantly constructing. Oh, now it is very clear. This is a construction crew. Of course, they want to get something done quickly, so they are awake at night. Everyone else is asleep or trying to, because they are they are building, knocking this and that, knocking the sleep out of all the neighbors. This is a construction crew. No, it's only one person. Only one person, nirmimanaha. Constructing person. Who now it's a person. First it was Yaha, whosoever it may be, to whomsoever it may concern. Now that Yaha has a name and has a Samanadhikaranyam. What is Samanadhikaranyam? It is in apposition with who. The one who is this one? It's in grammatical apposition, which means the one who is called Purusha. This Purusha is busy Purusha. Doesn't keep quiet, keeps on building. Some drilling noises coming like this, and then some duck, something is coming, and then some sandpapering, smoothing, painting, lifting, hauling, cranes, everything. Nirmimanaha, constructing. But what is it constructing? Kamam. One desire after another, it is constructing. Castles in the air, this Purusha is constructing. Even when the sense organs swapiti, sense organs sleep. Yeah, supteshu. So in and amidst the sense organs that are asleep, this Purusha is constructing the nuts and bolts, using the nuts and bolts of various desires, is constructing castles in the air. Who is this Purusha? Me. Yeah. So what does it mean? Means this jiva, this entity. What does this entity do? The entity goes to sleep, yes. But alas, these long-standing din of the desires never go to sleep. That is the idea. The desires stay awake, blink, even when the person is asleep. And the desires knock on the person's door, and the person's door is ajar, meaning it's a half awake, ardha vikasa. And in this half awake during sleep, what is being described is swapnavastha, the avastha, the state of the individual dreaming. So this dreaming individual, is half awoken out of the stupor. Still many things are in stupor, the body is in stupor, mind is still in stupor, but somehow half awake enough, the awareness is half awake, so to speak. Awareness is always awake, but connected to this body mind sense complex, it is half awake to project this whole Jagat. What Jagat? My own universe. Yeah. My own universe I project. And what are the nuts and bolts and the 2x4s and the hammer and the wrench? What are they? Just my wants and desires. I build a huge castle which is just a what is that? A skyscraper castle. Castle means elaborate. Skyscraper means very big, tall. And each floor is kamam. On top of that another kama, 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 kama. Multi-story, multiplex coming from this complex of desires. So this multi-story complex of desires I project on the wall of my consciousness. I craft a world of desires. Wow! Fantastic. So what all has gone into this construction? Desire, kamam, and in fact it's interesting that the desire is the nuts and bolts, and the desire is also used as a karana, as a means to bring about that desire, the fruition of the desire. So the desire is both the means and the end here, in a way, in a strange way. So the desire is the means, the object of desire is the end. Both are called kama in Sanskrit, so you have a interesting pun here. So kamam nirmimana. So repeatedly, that kamam means it's not stopping at one. Yeah. That vipsa, that repetition, is to show how the kamas, the desires are stacked like little, sardines, one on top of the other, like a big imarat. Imarat means a huge building with countless numbers of floors, and each floor represents a desire, a stopping point. Very interesting. So what all is the raw material for this dream, or this dream-like projection of this castle of desires? So the desires themselves are the object, the raw materials. What else is there? Memory, because I remember those desires. What else is there? Knowledge. Whose knowledge? Purusha's knowledge. You can never want something you do not know. Try. Try wanting something you don't know. You will not be successful. Well, I don't know the valley of flowers in India, but I want to go there. Ha! See? You can desire something you don't know, but you know valley of flowers. You have seen pictures. You may not have physically gone there, but you have googled it and seen the pictures and seen the delight on returning travelers' faces, and found out that this is what it looks like. This is what it evokes in you. Correct? So you cannot say you don't know. Truly, if you don't know something, you will not desire it. So desire includes knowledge. Yeah. Knowledge, memory, and objects of desire, and the pressures created by the desires, raga, dvesha, the strong preferences, all this is included, is the raw material of my own dream. Who is this I? Purusha, the fortified self. Ha ha ha. You know, fortified self means the self that is in a fort. What is this fort? This body is the fort. You have 2 portholes to look out, you know, and you have 5, orifices to take in everything, you know. You always have a window seat. This is a very nice, thing. You're always in touch with what is happening. And then what? Fortified means as good, somehow trapped in this body. In this body that is learning, slowly. What is it learning? Oh, it's not easy to be in this body. Oh, it is subject to age. Oh, it is not going to be the same way. Oh, I wish I was in the 20s, says the one who is in the 30s. I wish I was in the 30s, says the one who is in the 40s. And then after 50, you stop counting. Yeah, you just say, okay, whatever, Yeah. So, like this, the fortified self, even though it feels safe in this fort psychology, this fort psychology is a dangerous psychology. They learnt it from this Upanishad only, I think. What the people used to do in kings in northern India, even in South India, but the forts are much more prevalent in northern India, that they had this kind of a, I don't know what to call it in modern terms, like a refrigerator, like all the food was in this fort, and everything, that all the necessary things was in the fort, and you could, you hoarded the food items, you hoarded all the stock, you stockpiled whatever you needed, and then around the fort was a moat, a body of water where there were purposely kept, not pets, wild, slightly underfed crocodiles. Underfed is underlined, okay? Why underfed? Because, the bridge is the door, of this castle, this fort, and it is a drop-down door, which first, if it is up, it's a door, if it is down, it's a bridge. If it is all the way down, it becomes a bridge. So then all the people come into the safety, and you pull up this door. Then whoever has to come has to cross these really cross alligators. So some of them end up, the idea is some of them end up being alligator food, and then some of them, come with a battering ram and try to, shake this fort. And, the fort is impregnable. Can't, it cannot be, it cannot be under siege, and people get frustrated and go away. Half of them die, half of them go away. Sounds good, right? Yeah. But apparently, in history, that's not what happened. History tells us that wherever there are forts, where the forts have survived, so have the mass skeletons inside them. Yes. Because when you become a total institution, and when you shut out the world, you have no place to go. You are trapped. And in this entrapment, you cannot go outside because you are being sieged, You will be sieged by the enemies, and all, you are surrounded. And then what? Oh, but I have enough to eat. How long can you eat? The whole kingdom is inside this fort, meaning maybe 1 month food will be there, maybe 2 months, okay, maybe very generous, 3 months, 6 months, after that everybody starves to death. So it's just, and the predators, the enemy knows it's just a question of waiting it out. You wait out the food supply to dwindle, and then slowly the moat will come down as the bridge, and somebody will go to get food. At that time you enter, finish all of them, So this fort psychology of trapping yourself is just I, me, myself, and my own people, and the enemy is outside, has not worked as a war strategy or as a survival strategy at the collective level. What makes us think that it will work as at the individual level for the one who is fortified by self-ignorance to think that the I that is living in this body, mind, sense complex can ward off everything that is not I and just be this self-sufficient I, totally independent of the total, not needing to deal with the world, not needing to deal with the cause of the world, not needing to have a relationship with anybody and anything. And how do you think I can survive? Cannot, Still, even so, it does not prevent the person from trying. That is what this mantra says. Yaha eshu, supteshu. The sense objects are nowhere in sight. The sense organs are sleeping. This fellow is awake, planning. Kama stacked on top of kama, stacked on top of another kama, building castles in the air. Yeah, when in the swapna avastha. Who is this? The self who is in the fort. What is the fort? This body, mind, sense complex. The windows, are my little portholes, and ears, another porthole, all these things I take in, but I can't come out. Why? Because I have fortified myself by ignorance. The ignorance makes me feel trapped in this body, mind, sense complex. That's the difference between the person who knows the Atma and the person who doesn't know oneself as the Atma. Because the one who knows oneself as the Atma will not feel trapped, even though they are still confined in the same body, mind, sense complex. It's not that they come out after knowing the Atma. If that were to happen, already so few people interested in Vedanta, nobody else will come. You will gain moksha. Oh, that's nice. What will that look like? You will come out of the body. No, thank you. So it's not that you come out of the body. You come out of the ignorance, I am as good as this body. That is a big shift. Because that I is all pervasive and I am one with everything that is around me. So all things are participating in this oneness. Really they are. And there is a certain way in which there is a synergy here. And I have, declared independence, like the state of Texas. Lonely star state, Not lone star, lonely star. Why? Because, you can't just declare independence and want to secede. If you secede, where are you going to go? Where are you going to go? Your own economy, what are you going to grow? Are you going to sit and print currency at home and then, and then try to have transactions with the world? And it's a very lonely premise. So here, the individual jiva as though has seceded from the total due to the ignorance. There is a separation, as though. Separation is coined by myself. First, I don't know, it's a very strange antics of the jiva. First I say, I am somebody. I want to be somebody. I'm famous. I have all these things I want to do. I want to accomplish this, that and the other. Me. I don't need your help. I'm all by myself. Log cabin to, some White House. This is the whole thing. Self-made person. Self-made man. Self-made woman. Dangerous. And in the beginning it's all, almost like the jiva is a permanent 2-year-old, because this is what the 2-year-old does. His mother says, let me help you with your clothes. No, I wear it myself. Let me tie your shoes. No, I do it myself. Of course, they don't know how to do anything. But the feeling is, I'm all important and I know how to do everything. Let me show you. No, I does it all by myself. This is what they will say. I do it, you don't come. And this terrible 2 has not been outgrown. Yeah. There is some little residual entity that is permanently two. Yeah. Permanently two and sees everything as two, duality. And so therefore, this entity has separated itself. This me, my body, my things, my people, my ignorance. You can't have it. And so, at first it sounds very good because I have chalked out a kind, like how, in these murder mysteries, you see that where the body was lying all distorted, contorted, the policeman comes with a chalk and makes an outline, because then the detective has to come with a magnifying glass and find out from where it fell, how the body was lying. This body has been taken away. There is no reason for the body to be there. And they don't have to deal with the body, but you have this outline, correct? So like this, the jiva, everything that is, all these dead entities, of possessions and desires and, things and all these things, karmas, makes a little outline. This is me, yeah, with chalk. With the chalk of self-ignorance, draws an elaborate outline. This is me, this is my boundary. Inside is me, mine, and then outside is all of you. Me, not me. And in the beginning it looks safe. I am the king of my castle. I am playing with my toys that I have crafted. And all this belongs to me. And then, even though it sounds wonderful, after a little while you look around, there's no one to show off to even. What are the other people doing? They got tired. They they started to build their own castles, and each one is in a vacuum. And then what? There is loneliness. Not loneliness, that's a good thing. Yeah. Loneliness with a big L, for loser in front of it. Yeah. So, Atma is the only thing there is. Loneliness is wonderful, but not loneliness. So here, why does one feel lonely? Because one has imprisoned oneself in these chalk marks of me, mine, and, this fortress of this body, mind, sense complex, and possessions and desires, and has delineated everything as not me, not belonging to me, not part of me. And then the person is, nobody to play with. Where did everybody go? And then when the loneliness reaches an all-time high, people start looking in the Vedanta directory. I need help, which is a good thing. Yeah, good thing if that's what they do. Many times that's not what they do. They feel like, I think I should take up ballroom dancing, maybe that will help me to meet people. And then cha-cha, few cha-cha-cha, 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 later. Pun intended. Cha in Sanskrit means and. So and, cha-cha-cha, after, after doing some tandava in dance on the ballroom floor, then what happens? Then the loneliness returns. I am back, it says. Then one goes and does something else. Then again the loneliness cannot be stayed away for too long. When all else fails, Jai Ho Vedanta, victory to Vedanta. Because then they say, I have not tried this one thing. Let me at least try this one thing before trying anything else which I have already tried before. This one thing I haven't tried. So then the person comes to Vedanta and is exposed to this mantra. Nice, no? This is called full circle. Yeah. Which mantra? Eshu supteshu jagarti kamam. This Purusha, this idiot, Nirmimana, keeps on constructing desire after desire, calls it the dream state. Yeah, but is perpetually in a state, in some state or the other. calls it the dream state. So this dream state means what? In where the dream state is the regurgitation, the acid reflux of the waking state. That's all it is. Yeah. It's the regurgitation of the waking state. In the waking state, your eyes were bigger than the stomach. You chewed off more than you could swallow and assimilate, and then it all comes back, as a chewing the cud, what the cow does, The cow has big eyes, bigger than its at least one stomach. It has 4, and so it doesn't have a sense of time. It is put out on the grass for pasture, and then it thinks farmer is coming any moment with a stick and taking me back to the stable, and so it eats quickly, kamam nirmimana, and then that is called the waking state. And then it finds out, no farmer, I have the whole day to myself, let me go sit under a tree, kind of falls asleep, and while falling asleep, it regurgitates the grass and then assimilates it again. Same thing is the dream state for the individual. Everything that has been experienced partially in the waking state, or even wholly in the waking state, has its residues in the dream state. That same memory, that same desire, and that same knowledge, and the pressure to create, nirmimanaha, is used, because it cannot wait till you are awake again. The pressure to dream is so much that it pushes forth this universe called, dream. In other words, Jiva Srishti, Jiva's creation, a parallel to Ishvara's creation. So this is the so-called dream state. And then the same line, Yaha supteshu jagarti kamam purushaha nirmimanaha, is a double entendre. The first one we have seen in full gory detail. Yes? Say yes.
Yes.
Okay. Now the second one, first you take the Purusha to mean the fortified individual, fortified by pills of ignorance, and then what? In the next instance, Purusha is the cosmic being, Ishvara, Sarvan Purayati, the complete one, the one who is totally free of all desire, desiring, pressure, including the pressure to create. And this Purusha, how many Purushas are there? One only. Yeah. But then this Purusha, that Purusha, what are we talking about? This Purusha from the standpoint of the ruler, the maker of this universe. Jagat Karanam, this Brahman called Purusha in both instances. Brahman, that is whole, free, and without a second, and that Brahman also obtaining within the body mind sense complex, covered as it were by self ignorance, without a place to go, and creating due to certain pressures brought about by incompleteness. That is also Purusha. It's one and the same. One Purusha doesn't know its own glory. One Purusha sinks, the other one swims. That's the only difference. So the same line has to be read twice. First through in a little help if I have it the right side up. Okay, there we go. So this is also upside down. So then same line. Yaha eshaha purushaha. Here is this person. Purushaha, entity. First instance, how do you derive? Purishete, the one who sleeps in the citadel. In the second instance, Sarvan Purayati, the complete one, the one that fills up everything in its wake. In fact, there are not two. The one that sleeps in the citadel is the one who completes everything. But then why do we have two? Because that first one that we discussed in gory detail, it doesn't know its own glory. It thinks it is gory, not glory. Yeah. First Purusha, gory. Second Purusha, glory. See? Yeah, it's all in the L. Only, lonely, glory, gory. Yeah. So the same line you have to read twice. Then you get a totally different interpretation. First line is at the level of the miserable individual looking for some way to complete itself. The pressure of the desires don't even let the person sleep properly. It has to individuate into a dream and create this dream universe. And the dream universe is actually safe because all the things you cannot create in the waking state, you are creating in the dream state, thank God. Including strangling someone. Many times you feel like, I just want to, strangle this person. But obviously it's not an option, And so therefore, if you have a dream, then the prarabdha already goes away. Yeah. So in dream there is what is called, from the standpoint of Ishvara, this is just a side little trivia. Yeah. In dream there is prarabdha kshaya. Kshaya means the exhaustion of karma takes place in the dream. That's why we love the dream state. Because one gets a few things out. Yeah, vents it out. It's kind of a safe outlet. Without getting into a place of the doer, you have a safe outlet for things that cannot be expressed in the waking state safely. Okay? So now, the second line, the same line, double entendre I said. So the second Purusha is really the first Purusha from the standpoint of Brahman being the cause of the universe. The first Purusha has individuated itself thanks to the fourth psychology, fortified by self-ignorance. The second Purusha here, which is really the one and the same Purusha, is from the standpoint of the cosmic being, Bhagavan, Ishvara, who is the cause of the universe. So, Yaha Eshaha Purushaha. Same thing, Supteshu. Supteshu what? Who is Supta now? Who is sleeping now? In the first instance, all the other things were sleeping, correct? The body was sleeping, the mind was partially sleeping, the senses were asleep. Now, in the second instance of the Purusha being the Purna, the cosmic person who is completeness itself, who is sleeping? Supteshu. Who is sleeping in the second instance? You are sleeping. All the jivas are in a state of causal, they have reduced to their causal thing. We are talking of the collective now. First was the individual. In the individual instance, the way the body, mind, senses were asleep. Not the mind, but the body and the senses were asleep. The mind was partially awake. In the second instance, from the standpoint of the creator of the universe, all the individuation and the possibilities for individuations are sleeping. There is no prana, there are no bodies, they are yet to come. Why they are yet to come? Because Nirmimanaha is keeping on constructing. This Purusha, that Purusha was constructing. This Purusha is also constructing. The first Purusha, the individual was constructing out of what? Out of its own memory, desire and knowledge. And the second Purusha, meaning the only Purusha, the cause of the universe, is also constructing what? Through its memory, its desire and its knowledge. Memory from whom? From the last cycle of creation. Yeah, that's what. The blueprint is already there from the last cycle of creation. Who made the blueprint for the first cycle of creation? There is no first cycle. Because when you call cycle, where is the first? Anadi. Anadi means no beginning. So there is no first cycle because there is no, there is not a linear thing. When you say cycle, you cannot ask where is the first. Cycle means it's circular. And so therefore, in this, the last creation is already a blueprint. The last time the Purusha had a go at this is already there. And the kama, the desire, is what? Purusha is free of desire, correct? So what is the desire? The desire is just attributed desire. It's a displaced desire. Displaced by the pressure of the jivas, which were talked about in the previous mantras, dying to incarnate themselves to express their desires. Those are the desires. It's not that they are the Purusha's desires. The desires are on that of the Jivas, we say, who can't wait to be born, can't wait to populate this universe, can't wait to have a body, because without a body, how are you going to express your desires? Not possible. You are a disembodied awareness, floating around. You can't even eat ice cream. What's the point? What a life. Better to have a body, because the body becomes bhoga ayatanam, as specified by the Viveka Chudamani. Bhoga ayatanam. Ayatanam is a vehicle. Vehicle for what? Bhoga. Vehicle for the consuming objects of the senses. So your body is also, your body that is yet to come into being, whether you are sleeping or dreaming or whatever it is part of the Purusha's construction. Your karma is the Purusha's karma here. Why? Because your karma spurs the Purusha to have this Maya Shakti to project this whole universe to accommodate your karma. Look at that. Kamam Purusho nirmimanaha. So it's a Purusha is all knowledge, and all this knowledge, memory, desire, bring forth together this wonderful Jagat. All knowledge. So the whole Jagat, the whole creation is all knowledge. It's all the knowledge alone that is manifest as discrete objects. Because when you look at each object, if you say tree is, what is that tree? Tree is nothing but knowledge. Flower is, fruit is, tree is, earth is. Everything is just, when you say all this, knowledge is. And that knowledge is expressed through multiverse of names and forms. So many names and forms. That same knowledge pervades each and every name and form. That same Purusha pervades each and every name and form in the form of that presence alone. Just like you pervade your little skyscraper, very very precarious skyscraper of dreams and desires. Do you not pervade the whole skyscraper? Are you not on the 147th floor? Yes. Are you not on the first floor? Yes. Are you not in the penthouse? Yes. In fact, everything animate and inanimate is all you. It's all your projection. You have spread yourself out. You have stretched yourself out through the length, breadth, and all other dimensions of your dream. You have stretched yourself out. Your presence is like a tent that shelters all the things in the dream, not just like a tent that shelters the thing. It is in fact all the very things that are even inside that tent. It's all you. You pervade the dream very royally. You take your place, you pervade the entire, all the dimensions of your dream. Just like that, the Purusha pervades the entire universe, including your body, mind, sense complex. So in fact, there are this Purusha's dream, meaning yours truly, this individual Purusha's, lonely Purusha's dream is included in the only Purusha's dream. See that? Yeah. That's why your dreaming is full of inhibitions. It's inhibited. Can you decide what to dream tonight?
No.
Can you decide which memory is going to be activated and come forth as a dream? No. Can you decide how and when and why the dream will end? No. Why? Because this dreaming power, your power of projection, is inhibited because it's included in the larger power of projection of this whole universe, which is totally uninhibited. Yeah, Svechaya, fully in its own power. Your body, mind, sense complex falls within the rubric and the rules of this larger power. But what makes up and what is contained in this body, mind, sense complex is the same as that absolute presence which projects absolutely. Understood? Say yes, even if you didn't understand. Yeah. Because, I will explain it again. In fact, I have to explain it again in the next verse. Same thing will come. Again and again it will come. And Adi Shankara, commenting on the sudden repetitive, stance of this whole Upanishad in the next 7-8 verses, says this is for the people whose brains are tired by too much linear thinking and logic. Yeah. Tarkikaha, anrijuhu. Riju means, see, two things he says. One is that they are weak, the people these days, these days means in BC, in Shankara's days, were weak on dharma. Those who were weak on dharma. I mean, if they were weak on dharma, then dharma is righteous ways of being. So imagine now, So he says, because people tend to be weak on dharma, anriju svabhavaha. Riju means very straightforward. Anriju means crooked, because the times that we live in, Kali Yuga, has made us crooked. Our thinking is crooked, not in a bad way, but our thinking is extremely complex. When something is very clearly stated, we don't understand because we want to make something else out of it. This is anriju svabhava, not straightforward. The thinking is like a movement of a crab. If you watched a crab, if it wants to go somewhere, it goes this side, then it goes that side. Then when you're not looking, suddenly it's on your leg, How it came there, no one knows. So this is what the thinking is like. It is kutilayam gatihi. It's like how the snake goes, not in a straight line, not proper straightforward thinking. Because we have been corrupted, the minds have been corrupted by raga dvesha, and also the collective, milieu of the times in which we live, which are very complicated. So then, dealing with a mind that is suspicious, that is given to doubt, that has no shraddha, all this is anriju svabhavaha. So he says they are brahmanas, all right. Brahmanas means they are qualified for this knowledge, but the qualifications are, what is that? Undercut by anriju svabhava, by this non-straightforward thinking, and then too much thinking. Tarkikaha, influenced by, what is that? Cutthroat logic. You say this, I'm going to say that, and so one practices this kind of a thinking which is always on the defensive. So because of this, he says, Adi Shankara says, people don't understand. So the Upanishad is helping us out by repeating this again and again in the next few verses. So what I am wanting you to understand right now is just this, I'll repeat what I said, is that your power to dream and project is not absolute, correct? But why is it not absolute? Because it is included in the projective power of the Purusha. That's all I'm saying. That's all this is saying. Because the projective power of the Purusha is absolute. Absolute power to project, absolute power to sustain the projection, absolute power to take back the universe when it has done its job. Absolute knowledge, absolute presence. And what about your projection? Your projection is a halting, inhibited projection based on the larger laws of sleep and dreaming. So your dream comes under, your dream was Jiva Srishti, just now we said. But Jiva Srishti comes under what? Ishvara Srishti. Even though you think you are, unfurling a carpet of your parallel reality, a magic carpet on which you are going to visit various lokas in the dream, that magic carpet is already under the laws of Ishvara. And what is that law? The law of karma. Whose karma? The one who is dreaming on being on the magic carpet. And then because the karma doesn't afford it, the magic carpet in the dream comes down with a thud. Yeah. Yes. And then the fellow cannot sit down for many weeks. Has to keep standing. Yeah. Landed, and And then what happened was that completely out of commission. Correct? Why? Why would not the magic carpet of this fellow's dreams, why would it not fly? Why won't it fly? Why? This is not a rhetorical question. I expect you to answer. No, not because of ignorance, because karmically it is inhibited. That is what I want you to see. You know, I have every intention of dreaming about this magic carpet. I conjure up the carpet in the dream, I alight on the carpet in the dream, and I say, wee, and I'm steering the carpet, you know. And then what happens? Thud. Thud, 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 thud. Why? Because it was not my desire. My desire was to stay afloat and visit various places cheaply without paying for the airplane. That was my plan in the dream. But even in the dream, this fellow doesn't have the requisite karma to take off. That is what I want you to see. That the dream is inhibited because it becomes on the level of the Purusha, on the level of the one who is the creator of the universe, that presence that creates, sustains and resolves the universe. From that standpoint of the cause of the universe, this dream comes under one more law, which is already projected, the law of this fellow's miserable karma. That's all. And to take another example, supposing, this actually happened. Somebody in DC told me that I'm having a very annoying dream. I said, what is the dream? And they said, the dream is that every night I dream that I'm winning Maryland lottery. Yeah. And some ball, some kind of Powerball, correct, yeah, some ball, and for so many months nobody has won it, and so it keeps accumulating, and the amount is some crazy, like so many millions of dollars. And in the dream, I am winning it, and I'm saying one ball number, another ball number, and by the last ball number, it's so frustrating. I wake up because all the numbers are the same that have been shown in this ball. And then the last number, I wake up. Why? Because obviously no one has the karma to win the lottery. Very few. In the waking state itself. Sometimes the karma is inhibited of being even having that small little satisfaction that I won the lottery in the dream state. Now is this clear? Yeah. You think you are unfurling your own dream, but that dream, which is your Jiva Srishti, your own creation, comes under the spell of, under the laws of the creation. Yeah, see, it is mithya within mithya. Your dream is mithya within mithya. That mithya within mithya is also ruled by the one who projects the mithya. Fantastic. So that's how to read these two lines. See what you will understand if you read this. This has to be understood properly. That this fellow who is creating, who's a famous creator, where in his own dreams, in her own dreams, very famous inventor. And what happens to the invention? The inventions are subject to the law of karma and all other laws from the standpoint of the universe. This is something we have to see. Very nice. So, eshu sukteshu jagarti. Kamam nirmimanaha, because the one who is constructing all these desires and desirable lokas to live in, what should that person do? That person has to snatch your dream in order to give it to somebody else. So somehow each karma has to interact, and something is there, and so you can't always get your way in that. So what happens to your power to project and create? Inhibited. Yeah, Jiva Srishti. And this Jiva Srishti cannot be a powerful parallel because it is within the rubrics and the laws of Ishvara's Srishti manifestation. Srishti means manifestation. Yeah. So what to do now? This is a very sobering thought. That's why everybody is quiet. So, this really puts the jiva in its place and says, you may be in charge, but you're not in control. Oh, I'm in charge? Good. What in charge are you? Yeah. You're not even in charge. But you just said I was in charge because I wanted to break it slowly and gently. Yeah. That's all. You are in charge, but you're not in control. No, but I'm not even in charge. Well, you do have something called a free will. You can act on your own behalf. But then you have to kiss the results of action goodbye because you are not in charge of them. You can just try, But then trying and facing failure, it is too much. Yeah, I know it is too much. Come to Vedanta, that's all. Yeah. When you only have one kind of striving, all the strivings you pile up and focus it on one kind of striving. What is that striving? To stop striving. That's all. So it's the correct striving. So this is only one line, mind you. We still have the next line. Yeah. Kamam purusho nirvimanaha. Then what? Yeah. Tadeva shukram. Tadeva shukram tad brahma. So what we have discussed, the first interpretation, the second interpretation is Brahman. That creativity is Brahman. That Shakti which creates, whether it belongs to this miserable, two-timing fellow who separates himself, herself out of everything and then wants back in, this one, whether that creative power, this inhibited, miserable creative power of the, aborted dream where one cannot even win the lottery in the dream, this miserable power and the absolute power, that power itself is called Brahman. This miserable Purusha, Brahman. That fantastic Purusha, Brahman. Tadeva Brahman. Tadeva Shukram. Shukram means this creative power. This creative power, whether it's an inhibited creation of my own castles in the air or of my own wrong perceptions, of my own subjectivity, whether in the waking or the sleeping states, or the dream states, or whether it's a perfect creation, as this universe is, made by Bhagavan, it is still Brahman. Both are Brahman, both are pure, Shukram, pure, both are powerful, that power itself is there. Both are Maya here. Shukram also means that creative Shakti. In the inhibited creation of the Jiva, Maya appears as what? As Avidya. Maya has a avatar. What is the avatar of Maya? Avidya. Matriarch. Yes. Mummy. Yeah. What is this mummy? The one that has mummified the individual from seeking its own glory. This mummy, this big mummy, and what does this mummy do? Throws a veil of concealment over the individual and takes the fellow for a spin. Maya. And then at the level of the Purusha, the one who creates everything, the one who is absolute without any inhibitions, same Maya in the form of all knowledge, all Shakti, all power. Here in the form of no knowledge, small Shakti, inhibited power, but same Maya, Tadeva Shukram. And the wielder of this Maya, Tadeva Brahma. This Maya is wielded. That power is not just a runaway power. That power is a focused, consciously directed power. And the director of the power is non-separate from the power, is built into the power. The direction is built into the power. From the standpoint of the director, we say Bhagavan. From the standpoint of the power, we say Bhagavati. God, Goddess, Lord and consort, same thing. It is a power that directs itself. It's a self-directing power, and that self that directs the power is not separate from yourself. That is Brahma. Tadeva Brahma. Tadeva Shukram Tad Brahma. Eva for emphasis. Tadeva Amritam Uchyate. I'm going to take a few more minutes, okay? Yeah. Tadeva Amritam Uchyate. This is what is called as timeless. This is what is moksha. This is what is freedom. Recognizing that I, along with all my inhibited capacities, I am included in the larger, uninhibited, total projection. I am that projector. First is I am included. Second stage of understanding, second stage and the ultimate stage is to say, I am one with this power. Wonderful. Tadeva Brahma, Tadeva Shukram, Tadeva Amritam Uchyate. This is what is moksha. This is what is freedom from smallness, freedom from the body, mind, sense complex identification as the be all and end all of life. Tadeva Brahma, Tadeva Amritam Uchyate. And then further, if this is as if this was not enough, Tasmin Eva, in this alone, Lokaha, all the lokas, all the fields of experiences, all the universes, all the galaxies, wherever there is life, all the planets without life are included. Shritaha are dependent. They are all mithya, dependent on this Sat alone. Tasmin loka shritaha sarve. Tadu, indeed this, indeed that, na atyeti kaschana, does not, nothing goes beyond this Brahman. Everything is included in this Brahman. All the lokas, all the, truncated dreams and desires, all the inhibitions, and the person covered with inhibitions, all the ignorance, all the freedom, all the knowledge, all the notions of bondage, everything is, you think it is your projection, but it is not outside of this absolute projection. Your own rebellion is included in this projection. Your own trying to get out of this body, mind, sense complex, get out of this scheme of things. I hate the scheme of things. I want to have my own little independent flag. So first you conjure a flag. I don't want bars and stripes. I'm going to do something else. I don't want stripes and stars. I want to have my own flag. I want to have a smiley face on the flag. So you make this yellow dot and you draw a smiley face and you say, independence, victory is mine. And then after that you feel lonely. Oh, what to do now? The other side of the flag is empty, right? Yeah. Then you write SOS, help! Let me in. First let me out. Let me out. I want out. No. I want out of this whole situation. I want to be free. Who are you? Who are you? You, the Lord of Karma. Shut up. You're not in charge. I'm in charge. I'm going to show you. I declare independence from you. I've labeled myself atheist, agnostic. That is my country. I have nothing to do with you. I have divorced Ishvara. Bhagavan, finished. You and I, we are no longer compatible. Because who are you? I'm everything. So I have this smiley face flag. Then nobody is there to look at it. And slowly, then a few rains come. And slowly the smiley face, wilts. The flag wilts. And the holder of the flag needs another hand to prop up the flag like this. That also wilts. Wilting. Then the jiva has a brand new idea. The other side of the flag is empty. Yeah. Anybody there? Anybody home? I'm all alone. This is a new rebranding of the jiva as the bhakta, as the devotee. Help! SOS! Yes. Save me! Help me! Help! I can't do this on my own. Where are you? Why are you playing hide and seek with me? How could you do this? you know. And Vishnu and Lakshmi have yet another conversation. Vishnu says, "This is so frustrating. Look at him going one way and the other way. What is wrong?" And Lakshmi says, "You know, this is how they are. Don't expect anything else out of them." Yeah, it is good that all the manifestations of Bhagavan are happily married. The feminine and the masculine, they can console each other and leave us to our wayward ways. Om Purnamadah Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om. Questions?
I have some.
You have?
Yes.
Okay.
How to understand this power without any desire to create or control?
Yeah.
This
The power is without
how are we
desire.
associated?
Huh?
You know.
Yeah, the power is without any desire to either create or control. Correct. The desire is coming from the fuel, the gas in the car. The car doesn't have any desire to move forward. You have to put gas in it or electricity, whatever it is. You need some propeller. The gas is the desire, the gasoline is the desire of all the jivas. That makes this car go forward. Car of karma. Yeah, karma. Move forward. That's how to understand. Really speaking, where is jiva? Where is jagat? This is just from the standpoint of,
And what power?
yeah, no, power is there, knowledge is there. Knowledge, power is there, it's mithya. Wherever there is mithya, there is Ishvara. So if you Ishvarize the power, then you are not stuck with mithya. You Ishvarize mithya, you are not stuck with it. Yeah. Deep stuff. Yeah, this is Vedanta 501. Okay, hope that made sense, huh? Yeah. Any other questions? Huh? Okay. Okay. So nice. Everybody seems to have enjoyed it. That's good. Very nice. I'm happy.
Sumirji,
Ah.
about